Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 16th of January 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's afternoon session where we're going to have a look at the markets, a few charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then guys, let's quickly jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to touch on is the Dow Jones here. So looking at this, certainly it continues its path upwards here since its reversal back in December here, in the end of December. So now it's on a steep uprise here. So basically certainly we're keeping a close eye on a few key resistance areas, but looking at the cash index right now, we can see that the today's opening price probably is going to be slightly above the yesterday's closing price. So basically keep your eyes on that one. We're probably meant to be opening near this 50 EMA shown here as the red line, so just slightly below that. Certainly we're going to open above this key area of resistance that I had here marked near the 24,124. So keep your eyes on that one. Basically if it's going to stay here above, trading above this 24,125 level and start moving towards the 50 EMA and gets above it as well, now certainly this could be a nice positive sign here for the index, and of course the bulls could enjoy this run here potentially towards the 200 EMA here, not far from the 24,680 level, or maybe even actually we could end up moving towards the this downside resistance line. But of course that's probably not for today, but something to keep in mind for the near future, because we do have this downside resistance line running here from the highs of October. This in a way could continue traveling further up here where it could meet this downside resistance line that I was just talking about. So keep your eyes on that one, guys. For now, of course, still it seems that it wants to continue traveling further up here. Keep a close eye on today's open and how this is gonna trade around this 24,125 level. If let's say this suddenly starts dropping, now let me just jump back into the 4-hour chart on this one. In a way also I'll have a chance to adjust this little short-term upside support line that we've got running here, which kind of supports this up move. So basically if this starts dropping below this upside support line, certainly we could see maybe a bit of declines here, especially if we're going to drop below these lows that we saw here back on Friday last week. So there was around the 23,780 level, something like that, approximately there, guys. So if we start seeing a drop below that, certainly we could see maybe a slide further down towards the 23,530 level. Now just to kind of show you what that level was here in the past, now this was the support level seen in May 2018. So that's why I still have it here on my radar. The 23,530 level could be that potential area of support, if of course this decides to drop below this upside support line and drops below the Friday's lows of the 23,780 level, something like that. So this is when we will consider a possible test of this 23,530. But again, if this level isn't able to kind of withhold the bear pressure, then certainly we could see maybe a further slide here. Now this slightly more highlighted dashed line that I've got here, this marks the this year's opening price. So in a way this is something that we could target if we get a nice break below the 23,530 level. But of course let's not rush into things yet. Let's see how this plays out first. Of course, like I said, today we'll probably see a nice open slightly higher here, above this 24,125 level that I've got marked here, and of course let's see how this plays out later on, if it continues to travel further up here. And that's why if jumping back into the daily chart, this is what the area that I'm having in mind. I'm having in mind here this upper bound of the Bollinger Band near the 24,480, but again, like I said, we do have this 200 EMA here shown as the black line, which could potentially be a nice good area for resistance as well. So keep your eyes on that one. Jumping into another index quickly, and that's Shanghai Composite. Now this is what I wanted to show you guys. I was covering this one a few videos ago, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this little range that we've got the index trading in right now. So that's between approximately the 2532.75, something like that, or in a way you could round it up towards the 33 level. So 2533 on the downside, and on the upside we do have the 2575 barrier, which also kind of coincides here with this 50 EMA that we can see here on this daily chart. So still the outlook kind of remains the same. We're still in a way somewhat neutral, but we're gonna keep on monitoring if we finally get this break above this level, above the 2575 level. Now this is where it could become more interesting for more bulls to jump in, and we could see maybe a move towards this 2645, which also coincides with the 100 EMA here shown as the green line. So keep your eyes on this one, guys. Very interesting one. But again, for now, probably it's better to be safe than sorry. So wait for that break first, and then see what we can squeeze out of this index. On the downside, well, it's the 33 level that I'm talking about here, and what I'm looking at. And if we do get a drop below this, then in a way this opens the path back down towards the lows that we saw here in January, in the beginning of January, and that was approximately around the 2450. So keep your eyes on that one. But again, for us to consider lower levels, we need to see a drop below the 2533 level first. Looking at one commodity specifically, and that's Brent oil. So looking at this one, you can see that yes, it did travel higher. We managed to break this this downside resistance line, and let me just quickly put that on the chart here for our future reference, guys. So yeah, we managed to break this down, but it kind of currently is getting stalled here between kind of these two levels. Let me just quickly put those as well for you for our future reference. And this is what I'm talking about. So on the upside, we do have the 62.55 level, which kind of playing as a nice area of resistance. And on the downside, you can see that recently it found good support near the 59.20 level. So let's keep a close eye on these two levels, because for now it's too difficult to say if it wants to continue pushing higher or not, because like I said, it found its resistance near the 62.55. But if this suddenly gets broken here, now this is where it could become more interesting for the buyers, because we could then target the next potential area of resistance near the 68.30 level, something like that. Let me just quickly put that on the chart. So approximately there, guys, it's 68.30. Also coincides here with this 200 EMA shown as the black line, so this could be a nice potential area for a test. But then again, first we need to see this nice good move above this recent high that we saw here on the 11th of January, and that was around the 62.55 that I just mentioned about. So this is the idea that we've got here for the upside. For the downside, well, I mean, if this suddenly reverses back down again and drops below the 59.20 level, now this is where we will start looking at potentially testing this little area of support, which previously acted as a nice area of resistance, and that was approximately around the 55.40 zone. So you can see that back here on the 26th and on 27th of December, it acted as a very nice area of resistance. Initially kind of slightly held the price down, but then got broken here in January. So for now, guys, let's not go into maybe higher levels. For now, let's see how this plays out first. Where does this commodity wants to pop out? Does it wants to pop pop through the upper side, or does it want to break below this recently found support near the 59.20 level? And if so, if it gets break below here, then yep, this is where we'll target the 55.40 level. Jumping into NZDUSD now, this is a very interesting one today, certainly getting a bit of a some selling activity here. Looking at this overall, you can see that it's still trading above this in a way a medium-term upside support line taken from the lows of October. You can see that yep, it had a few tests here. Of course, started off in October, then kind of formed it on the 26th of October, and then got another test of this this line, got another test on the 3rd of January, so quite recently as well. So again, you can see that since then it kind of traveled higher, but failed to move above the 0.6850 level. So this is something that we're going to keep a close eye on. And jumping into the 4-hour chart on this one quickly, let me just adjust a few levels here, guys. So just to kind of mark it for our future reference, and this is what we're going to keep a close eye on. So the 0.6850 level here that we got that was reached yesterday. Since then, you can see that the pair started moving lower. Today it was marked by a strong sell-off, and it managed to drop below the 0.6775 level. So currently it's testing it from underneath. Let's see how this plays out, because even if let's say it decides to push higher here and moves above the 0.6775 level, certainly we're going to keep a close eye on this little area of it previously acted as a nice area of support. Now this could play out as a nice area of resistance, and the one that I'm talking about here is the 0.68 level, approximately there. So even if it's going to travel higher here, if it fails to go above it, then we could see maybe another leg of selling here, where we could then potentially target the 0.6705 level, which was marked here by the lows of the 8th of January. So keep your eyes on that one, guys. Of course, first initially, let's see how this plays out near the 0.6775 zone. If it continues to hold here, if it doesn't allow the rate to travel further up here, then yep, we could see further declines straight away. And of course, this is in here, this is the big thing here, guys, to remember. Even if let's say if the 0.6775 level is going to hold right now, and this decides to travel lower straight away now, we could potentially end up testing a smaller area of support here, somewhere maybe around here, around the 0.6745, something like that. Now this could potentially maybe stall the rate for a little bit. We could maybe potentially see a bit of a correction back to the upside, and then maybe another push down. So something like this, of course, could be possible. So, but for now, like I said, for today, guys, keep a close eye on the 0.6775 zone. Let's see how this plays out today. Jumping into another pair here quickly, which is also related to New Zealand dollar, and that's the EURNZD. So as you can see, that the weakness of the NZD kind of played out nicely here in this pair, in the EURNZD. So we had a nice boost here, moving away from the S1, where it found its support today, and that was approximately around the 166.90 level. So this kind of in a way marks this a new potential good area of support that we're going to be keeping a close eye on. And if let's say this suddenly reverses back down, this is the level for us now going to be in order to kind of consider further declines, and a break below this 166.90 level, this is when we will start considering further moves lower. For now we're just going to probably play it safe, even though yes, we did have a nice push higher here. And now looking at this 4-hour chart, from the very short-term perspective, you can see that yes, the pair is trading now above the 21 EMA. It's kind of looking quite positive. Of course, it's also above the pivot today. So the only thing is that you can see that on the 4-hour candle, on the 4-hour chart, now we formed something like a doji basically here. So a shooting star, or in other words, and certainly we could see maybe a bit of a correction here back down, but slightly below that here we do have this R1, which is near the 168 level. So keep your eyes on that one, guys. If this suddenly suddenly this starts breaking to the downside, well, the next potential area of support to keep an eye on will be around this pivot, which is near the 167.60 level. Now if this fails to withhold the kind of this retracement back down, then, well, I mean, this could, like I said, roll over and start moving back down again. But for now guys, we're kind of leaning more towards the upside. The only problem with the upside here is this little should I say short-term upside support line that we've managed to break to the downside in last Friday. Certainly on Monday this week we've managed to retest it from underneath, and then since then it's sold off. So in a way, if this wants to continue traveling higher, we could end up testing this this upside, this kind of short-term upside support line again from underneath. We could give it a nice test here, and but this is where it will become more interesting for everybody, because if this gets back above this upside support line, certainly the near-term outlook then turns more positive, and we could start targeting higher levels, these previous levels that we saw here in the beginning of January. But if it continues to hold and we see this kind of line continuing to hold, then yep, we could see maybe another leg of selling here, kind of dragging this pair back down towards these key important areas of support. So for now guys, be very careful with this one. Keep an eye on this little retracement that we're seeing right now. Keep an eye on this R1, which is near the 168 level. Let's see how that plays out. If it continues to hold, we could see maybe more bulls jumping in here again, trying to push this one higher, but the upside could get limited near this upside, this short-term upside support line from underneath. So be very careful with this pair. It's at the same time it's very interesting, but it kind of can bring us a few surprises and give us a few surprises. So probably the only one recommendation here is have your stop loss in place. Okay guys, I hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for watching and listening. And if you want to join me tomorrow morning at my Trader's Espresso, and that's 7 o'clock GMT time. But for now, for those who are finished for today, I hope you have a wonderful evening. For those who are still trading, have a nice trading day guys. And just a quick reminder also, still remain cautious with the British currency, trading British currency, of course. Bye bye.